Let's see here. There we go. Live chat is ready. It says I'm live. I feel pretty live. Pulse Giver, Elemental, Irie, Jason John, Emit, Epic Here 7, hello. Bojan Racket, hello. Gamerbot, hello. Guys, let's try not to spam the chat. Remember, we do have slow mode on, and that is for a reason. Yes, I'm live. Hello, Floopy, Elemental. Zebby's channel, hello. Jelly Yeet, hello. Okay, welcome everyone who's here so far to the 5th Lucid Dreaming Q&A session with Skyfall Blind Dreamer. I noticed there were 5 people initially. Let's see. Oh, we got 7. That's so nice. So, welcome everyone. And basically the way this works is you guys ask questions about lucid dreaming. I answer them. I usually go for about an hour and talk about lucid dreaming with you guys. And then I'll answer your questions and do all that. This is a Q&A session. It lives for the audience. So your questions about lucid dreaming are what I answer in today's event. And I like to do these every week or two. I've had a good audience, and I like to include as many people as possible. So middle of the day in the afternoon, it's morning for people in other parts of the world in Asia, and it's evening in Europe, and it's afternoon in the United States. So I feel I can get a good bit of the world here. Elemental, you're struggling with motivation. Any ways you know that could help? Well, goals. Honestly, goals are one of the big things that you could do. What do you want from lucid dreaming? When you're motivated to do something, there's a reason behind it. You have a goal that you want to accomplish. There's something specific generally that you want to do that requires whatever you're practicing to do it. If you want to perform or you want to be a star athlete, you're going to put in the work if you want to actually succeed, if that's something you truly want to do. So having goals that you require lucidity for, it can be simple as like, don't try to push yourself too hard in terms of goals initially. So maybe you want to start with just getting a lucid dream, or maybe something simple and specific that you can only do in a lucid dream. But have goals that you would want to work for. That's to be something you want to do, and then you have that helps you motivate you to actually put in the effort to do it. So that's my commentary on that. I've had motivation issues with a variety of things, and it comes down to whether or not you want to actually do it or not. Do you want to get the results? That's sort of what that comes down to. Let's see. You're the first and last question so far, Elemental, but let's see. So yeah, as far as motivation goes, yeah, it's basically having goals to do something. I'm very driven when it comes to lucid dreaming. I want to get to Omni, and I've been working at it for over a year. But I'm also driven to it. I really, really want it. So I've been pushing myself for that. But that's not always the best goal for someone who's just starting. There's a lot of pressure that can be attached to that. But finding something that you want to do. Say you want to fly. You want to break physics and tell physics to go screw off, because that is something you can only do in a dream, and it's really, really fun, and you would really enjoy being able to do that. So you want to actually practice and get lucid so you can break physics, because breaking physics is cool as hell. That would be an example. Is there a limit where it stops being useful? Honestly, probably just until you are keeping yourself awake so long that you're actually, damaging your sleep, like as in, staying awake for a long time and not actually going to sleep versus doing the process and going to bed. Generally, we recommend about 15, 20 minutes or so of doing it and then go to bed, and then do the same thing during wake back to beds, 15 to 20 minutes. So yeah, that's generally what I recommend. It's not like there's a limit where it stops being useful. I'd say it stops being useful if it just becomes a process and there's no intention behind it. Like you're not actually intending. I'd say it stops being useful if that's the case. But you know, well, Burge recommends doing it until you fall asleep, but that's not something everyone can do. So we don't generally recommend doing that. We generally recommend doing it for about 15 to 20 minutes and focusing on it, making it your top priority for that 15 to 20 minutes. That's the only thing you're doing. Um, so yeah, that's sort of the thought process behind doing mild and how we recommend it. The tech sneak. Oh, so it's a sneaky technique. Okay, Dog Christian. I'm just kidding. Sometimes when I wake up or wake back to bed, I fall asleep before I remember to do the technique. Spelled technique, which is a very interesting spelling. But jokes aside, yeah, if you're waking up and you're a deeper sleeper, like for me, I wake up and I always know when I wake up. I always know, and I'm usually awake for several minutes at a minimum, and that happens 6 plus times a night. So I'm very aware of when I wake up. So you're saying you fall asleep before you remember to do the technique. Well, in that case, maybe if you're using an alarm, make put it further away from you so you actually have to physically get out of bed to get to it. That could be an example. Like if you're using your phone, put it somewhere further away from you so you have to actually get out of bed to get to it. I mean, if you're a deep sleeper who can fall asleep quickly, then spending some more time awake could actually be helpful for you. If you're a light sleeper like me, who the longer I spend awake, the harder it is to fall asleep. Just staying awake for as little as possible is what helps me. But finding that balance, it's all subjective, and it's all the time you spend awake is based on the individual. How quickly do you fall back asleep? You know, what do you need to actually be alert when you wake up to the point where you could actually do a technique, that sort of thing. And that varies from person to person. So it sounds like for you that you're not alert enough when you wake up and you're falling back asleep very easily. So then in that case, you'd want to actually maybe wake up a little bit more, maybe get out of bed, maybe do something and get up for a couple minutes and then do a technique. So yeah, that's sort of how that can go. Is it true that you can only wake up from lucid dream if you want to? Well, here are the things that can wake you up from a lucid dream. Science. Your sleep cycle is ending. That's natural, and that's not something that you can control. Then there is external forces, lucid and non-lucid dreams alike. If something interrupts your sleep, like an alarm or someone calling you on your phone, that will wake you up from a dream, just like it'll wake you up anytime asleep. So those are the two main things. And aside from those two things, aside from like natural, your sleep cycle is ending and interruption, something external is causing you to wake up. The only other things are expectation, which is a strong schematic association. Basically, your strong associations are generally your expectations. Um, if you do something and you expect to wake up, then you wake up. And sometimes if you're just not paying attention to what you're doing, you can wake up. But, generally it's you expecting to wake up from something or the dream naturally ending, which is just biology, or, being woken up by an external force, which is out of your hands. Yeah. Really recommend people just pay attention to what you're doing, what you're experiencing. Don't get too caught up in like what you want to do that you fail to notice what you're actually doing. And then don't expect anything to wake you up. Like, don't make that association. All right. I am already caught up. And we're only 9 minutes and 13 seconds in. I think we still have 7 viewers, though. Okay. That's about average. Floopy. Hello. Is ADA about self-awareness, awareness of your situation? Situational awareness is awareness of your situation. ADA is generally seen as more about self-awareness, but like there are different types of awareness. So, there's environmental awareness where you're aware of what you're physically experiencing at this time. What your senses are experiencing. The very base level. Okay, my left fingers are touching the wood under the desk. My left thumb is touching a metal piece above it, and my right hand is the upper part of my hand and fingers are laying on my pants. My arms and elbows are touching my chair. My back is so I'm experiencing tactile sensation, and I'm cataloging tactile sensation. I'm aware of what I'm hearing and what I'm saying. That's a sort of environmental awareness. Then there's situational awareness, and that is being aware of what is going on around you and sort of what is happening around you. Okay, so for example, I'm talking on a live stream with a bunch of other people. That's situational awareness. I'm aware of the context of what I'm doing with like what I'm doing. And that's a common thing in like the military, fighter pilots, just piloting in general. Anything that requires you to be like focused on the actual task or what you're doing. There's a difference between like autopilot, just doing things mindlessly, and then situational awareness, where you're aware of what situation you're in and what the consequences of your decisions are and what is going on around you and that type of thing. That's sort of the military type thing. Situational awareness is something they're really big on. Then there's self-awareness, which is generally described as being aware that you are aware. It's being aware of your awareness is how it's described, and it's really confusing. It took me like 6 months to figure out what that meant. And I usually define that as, knowing that you are having an experience, that you are aware of your experience. Knowing that, just knowing that you are aware of whatever is happening to you environmentally or situationally or whatever. Um, so knowing that you're aware of that is sort of self-awareness. It's a weirder thing. I find that the hardest one to explain, honestly, but because the other two are very much based on your environment, and self-awareness is based on you being aware, knowing you're aware of your environment. So awareness is knowledge. So knowing what you're experiencing is being aware of it. Knowing that you know what you're experiencing is being aware of your awareness, sort of. That's kind of how that goes. So elemental. Sometimes I feel like my lucid dreams aren't as real as people say theirs are. Is there anything I can do to help improve vividness or something? Okay, I decided to do that because I felt like that would have ended so beautifully if just ended on vividness, but the or something there just kind of is like, "Oop, okay." All right. So when you are lucid, all right. So vividness first off is a product of a couple things. First off, recall. All right. How well are you remembering your dreams? And what level of detail? Vividness is part of that. And then vividness can also be a factor of non-REM versus REM dreams. Non-REM dreams tend to be less vivid. Early night dreams tend to be harder to recall, so tend to be less vivid, less detailed, versus later night dreams tend to be more vivid, more detailed. So that's also something to consider. But when you are lucid, if you're in the moment and you don't feel like the dream is vivid enough and you're actually lucid, then use schema, associate something with making your dream more vivid, whether it be like imagining it coming into sharper clarity, or maybe putting on glasses, or taking gloves off to get better tactile sensation, or something along those lines, or creating like a graphics menu, making everything come into sharper focus. But you can do things like that when you are lucid to, try to bring more clarity out of your surroundings. And schema based, you associate that with it happening and expect it to happen, and it happens. Um, so that's something you can do. And then recalls the other component. How well are you recalling your dreams? All right. So the detail, how much in the way of details are you recalling? That's the other part of that. Phantom Minviz Tuver. What are your opinions on dream vividness or recall medication, such as Lucidesk or Dreamleaf? Don't spend money on something you can do for free. That's my opinion. Don't spend money on something you don't need to spend money on. Now, if you have like a medical condition that requires you to purchase medication for something, yeah, that's a legitimate need to spend money on. But if you can get the same results without having to pay for it, it's generally the better way to go. Hello, the Epic Carrot 7, and welcome. I've got 7 lucid dreams, but they've all been really short. As in, I don't lose awareness, but I tend to wake up mere seconds or minutes after becoming aware, how to prevent seconds or minutes is a very, very big distinction. Bearing in mind that there are 60 seconds in a minute. If you have a dream that lasts 2 seconds and a dream that lasts 2 minutes, the 2 minute dream is 60 times longer than the 2 second dream. And so that is definitely worth considering. Considering most of my lucids don't last longer than 10 minutes just because, that's I started with having bad schema where they wouldn't last longer than 30 seconds. So getting that up to 5 minutes was an increase of, let's see, two times, an increase of about 500, no, 100%. Does increase of 100% times. Yeah, increase of about 1,000% or something. Is it was 10 times. We're talking 10 times longer dreams from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, and that's a pretty big deal for me for my dreams to go up to to that. That was a pretty big deal for me. Talking about them getting 10 times longer. But how do you prevent that from happening? One, don't expect to wake up. Okay, if you're expecting to wake up, or if you're like anxious about it, that can be harmful. At least my anxiety has been one of the biggest issues with that. Being anxious about it, expecting to wake up and then waking up. Also, just pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to what you're experiencing. Don't even think about waking up. Just be in the moment and think about what you're doing. All right, and just engage with what you're doing, and then think about what you're trying to do, and just engage with it. And don't even think about waking up. So that's sort of what I'd recommend doing. Sometimes it's unpreventable. Sometimes you just get lucid at the end of a dream and you can't really do anything about it. But, the things I'm recommending are things you can actively do to mitigate the possibility of that being an issue. And it can take practice. It took me months to get better at that. And it really depends. Blake McCallum says A, which last I recalled the letter A is not a question, but I guess Blake McCallum will do what Blake McCallum does. Fandom Minz's Tuver. You again. Hello. Understandable. Okay. You mean like half a minute? Okay. Well, yeah, half a minute and minutes are like totally different things. 30 seconds and 2 minutes. That's a difference of 4 times still. So it's definitely worth keeping that in mind. But yeah, like if you're talking like 30 seconds, I'm not sure what your average lucid is like. Are you thinking about waking up, or are you expecting to wake up? Or are you anxious and nervous and fearful about what you're doing? Are you frantic? Like, what's your emotional aspect like in that sense? Okay. Dogfish. Okay, you're describing a to me. Okay, thank you. About the question you asked, or I asked earlier, I wake up. That's the garage. I'll wait for that to open. It'll be my dad leaving to go get something to eat. About the question I asked earlier, I'll wake up, sit up, walk around my room for a few minutes, then go to bed. I try it SSILD cycle. I can't focus on it, and I get distracted by my thoughts easily. Okay, so you're describing that like with SSILD, like that's kind of expected that you're going to get distracted by your thoughts at some point. I don't know how far you get into the cycle. Usually, if you notice that you're getting distracted by your thoughts, you generally like just reset and go back to the beginning of whatever cycle you were in. Also, if that's too much of an issue for you, maybe you stay awake a little bit longer. Maybe you stay awake for 5-10 minutes instead of just a couple minutes. Or you do a different technique. Maybe you mild and you do it sitting up and then you go back to bed. Or maybe you just try wilding and use an anchor and fall asleep that way. I don't know what else you've done, but if you're falling asleep quickly, but you're getting too distracted, um, I'm honestly, that's been an issue of mine too. Sometimes just getting too distracted. But that's why I mild sitting up, because it helps. So yeah, I generally mild sitting up because it helps. The garage door is about to close again, by the way. So just to let you guys know, you're about to hear a loud rumbling again. As soon as my dad decides to back out of the garage. Blake McCallum, how did I not wake up when lucid dreams end? Well, if they're ending, You're either gonna wake up or you're going to enter a non-REM part of sleep. But so I don't know if what you're trying to ask is how do I keep lucid dreams from ending? But if they end, you're gonna wake up. But the key is, all right, if they're actually ending and you're waking up is the normal thing that happens. If they're actually ending, you know, going into non-REM sleep is much less likely. Yep, there goes the garage door again. So hold on. So when your lucid dream does end, if you start waking up, just stay in the position you're in and just think about the dream you're just having and try to do DEILD, where you use that dream as an anchor and you go back into it or into another dream and you're lucid. That's a wild method that's based on dreams ending. It's dream exit initiated, and it is based on dreams ending and using that liminal state where you're not fully awake yet, but you're waking up, and then just wilding back into a dream from that is usually a lot easier than wilding from directly from being awake, like properly awake. So that's sort of the recommendations behind that. Now, in terms of in your dreams themselves, if you're trying to make them last longer, just pay attention to what you're doing. Don't expect anything to wake you up. That's the basics. You got this. Thanks. Thank you, Flippy. Thanks for doing the streams. Are very helpful. Thank you. It's my pleasure. I enjoy doing these. You don't want to wake up. Well, you are in essence fighting biology. Really, like if your dream's ending naturally, really the best thing you can do is deal with it. Like I was just describing earlier, that's like the best thing you can do. Otherwise, you're fighting biology. Now, if your dream's ending because you're expecting to wake up, that's something you can fix by not expecting to wake up. Anxiety tends to also, I think, be an issue there sometimes. But yeah, you don't want to wake up. Who does? But at some point, science is going to catch up with you, and the dream is going to end. They don't last forever. So at some point, biology is going to catch up with you, and you can't really fight biology. You should record this as a Spotify podcast. Spoit fee. I have never heard of Spoit fee. I have heard of Spotify though. Anyway, excuse me. I actually do keep these uploaded on my YouTube channel. All 5 of these Q&As are actually up there. This is the 5th, and I've numbered them in order. In fact, I really need to get another upload up there. But yeah, I keep all the Q&As up there. I do these frequently. A bullet train. こまで、情報、新幹線ものから失礼して、こまでしゃば、のぞみの東京駅です。死ねば、新横浜停車いたします. Like, you mean like a Shinkansen? Anyway, I'm just kidding. But that's like all the Japanese I know is railway announcements. So anyway, but yeah, Eld, a lot of his like technique advice isn't really great. He has a lot of schema issues. Generally from just most of the YouTubers do. I'd see over 85% of them, if not more. That's a pretty big number. Have some sort of issues in regards to their the schema they use and sort of how they perpetuate different things and understand things. But yeah, you can use literally anything to go to dream. Bullet train honestly sounds really fun, honestly, because I've had like 1 or 2 bullet train dreams. I've had a couple bullet train dreams. I've never been to Japan. Really want to go. But yeah, that sounds like a really fun thing to do. Flippy message retracted. Ferdinand 181, guys, stay away from him because he just admits that he's a creep, he's a weirdo, and what is he doing here? Because he doesn't belong here. Okay, we get it. You're weird. Like McCallum, are you responding to me or responding to the other guy? As I'm not sure. Chat actions. I am. Moderating is fun. This is cool. I actually know how to delete messages now. I would just Philip. How do I walk in a VeggieTales VR? I think you know enough about lucid dreaming, just Philip, to figure that one out. But that was hilarious. Um, how do I walk in a VeggieTales PR? Well, just make a schema for it, man. You know the drill. Hey, Red Penguin. Hey, is it possible for me to play characters from video game in a lucid dream? Yeah, 100%. 100% possible. It doesn't matter what they're shaped like or what they look like or feel like. Yeah, it's totally possible. However you expect it to happen, that's how it'll happen. But yeah, you can totally do that. Yeah, and as you know, Ferdinand, this is not the place for Radiohead music. This is a lucid dreaming live stream Q&A. If you don't have any questions, then you are not really being very productive in the chat. Thank you. What did I say in Japanese? I was saying basically, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shinkansen. This is Omazami Super Express bound for Tokyo. And then it goes on to say, we'll be stopping at Shin Yokohama and Shinagawa stations before arriving at the Tokyo terminal. That's how the English announcements kind of go on that. Yeah. All my Japanese that I know is train announcements. I sometimes struggle to fall asleep because my mind is too focused on trying not. What? This one doesn't make sense at all, Elemental. I sometimes struggle to fall asleep because my mind is too focused on trying not to wild. Why? What is this about? That makes no sense to me, man. Could you clarify? My mind is too focused on trying not to wild. Like, I don't get that at all. Yeah, that would be a wild dogfish. A couple nights ago, I was falling asleep, then I imagined doing something that I was imagining doing a reality check. Then I felt like being imagining to fully immerse in dream. Yeah, you incubated a scene. That's perfect. I love it. You used an incubation anchor. Love it. Was that a wild? Yes. If you, especially particularly like that, if you were lucid, that was a wild. Yeah, that was a wild. That's what wild is like. Isn't it awesome? Isn't it really awesome when you get a good wild like that? Yeah, Blake. Yeah, I all of my Japanese consists of things around train systems. Like I know how to say stand clear of the doors, like doa waramas ochuri kudasai. That's like the extent of my Japanese. Bamalaku shukten Tokyo desu. I'm elemental. This is so contrarian to honestly anything lucid. Like I don't get this actually. I really don't. Okay, so I tend to stay awake for a while because I accidentally start being aware of something when I don't want to. Why? Why? Thought of trying not to get hypnagogia keeps me up. Why? Hypnagogia is awesome. It's nothing to be worried about. Wild is awesome. It's something to pursue, not to avoid. I know of people who have trouble falling asleep because they're they pay too much attention to their anchors with wild. That's normal. That happens to a lot of people. But actively trying to avoid doing it, I can honestly say you're the first. You're the first I've ever talked to who's come out and said, I actively avoid trying to wild, and this keeps me from falling asleep. This is a conundrum. I've honestly never heard of anything like this, Elemental. I must say you're the first. I don't understand why. That's not exactly a really healthy thing in my view, because hypnagogia is nothing to be scared about. You're giving yourself this unwarranted fear of something that there's no reason to ever be worried about. And you're denying yourself this awesome opportunity. At the same time, you're making it harder for yourself to fall asleep. Everything there is 100% just contrarian to anything that I would have ever heard. Like, dang, man, dang. Blake McCallum. Also, sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I'll open my eyes and it feels like I'm in a 3-second dream. Yeah, I've had that happen before. That's hypnagogia sometimes, or maybe you did enter the dream just barely. I've had that happen before. It's perfectly okay if you get it going to sleep for the first time, my friend. Just because it's not recommended to wild before you go to bed doesn't mean it's a bad thing if you do. Like if you succeed, fine. If you don't, fine. There's a difference between not actively trying to wild as you fall asleep or, actively thinking about it and forcibly trying to keep yourself from not to, causing yourself to not fall asleep. Hypnagogia is nothing at all to ever be worried about. Even if it is your first, just before bed. There's that that logic is not sound, my friend. It's perfectly okay if you get hypnagogia as you're falling asleep at the beginning of the night. It's perfectly okay if you wild at the beginning of the night. In fact, if you're wild at the beginning of the night, you're a dadgum superhero because that's a skill that a lot of us would love to have. And if you actually did manage to, for some reason, you would be considered awesome. I think I've gotten really close once or twice. Never managed to do it. But yeah. Wow, man. Wow, wow, wow. Just go to sleep, man. Just go to sleep. Do your mild or whatever you do before bed. Go to sleep. And if you wild, that's awesome. If you don't, that's okay. Trying to keep yourself from wilding as you fall asleep, that's terrible. Bye, Blake. Have a good one. No, hypnagogia doesn't screw with anything. Hypnagogia is natural. It's normal. It's fine. If you experience hypnagogia, that's not a problem ever at all with anything. So yes, just embrace the hypnagogia. Just go to bed, man. But it doesn't screw with anything. Just go to bed. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Do the exact opposite of what you've been doing, and you will be fine. No, it doesn't screw with mild. In fact, actually, one of the things I'll do sometimes is I'll mild during a wake back to bed, and then I'll try to wild afterwards because my wilding isn't the best, and it's an opportunistic thing for me. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and if it doesn't work and I enter a dream, then I've still done mild, then I have something that can fall back on and work. So it's not a problem at all. All right, Elemental, no problem. Yeah, that was honestly one of the craziest things I've ever heard. So yes, I'm glad we got that one sorted. Thanks. Yeah, definitely. It'll behoove you to not be so anxious about it when you're going to bed, my friend. Just go to bed. Just go to bed. And if you accidentally wild as you're falling asleep, dude, that's awesome. That's a superpower. All right. If you could wild every time you fell asleep, that would be amazing, honestly. That would be a dadgum superpower, my friend. Alrighty. Let's see where we are. We're down to 5 viewers and 8 likes. Okay. We have gone for 33 minutes. That is awesome. For those of you who are left, y'all are awesome. We've had a pretty good crew so far. Anyone else have any lucid dreaming related questions? I don't think I'm going to get as many questions this hour as I've done in the past, so I may skip a week when doing the next one, or do it at another time. Really need to get a poll for doing these to see if people would like to do that, when they'd like to do these. I think I will set up a post on my channel for subscribers to see what times are good for them. Phantom Menace guy, whatever. What technique do you use most often? Sorry, I was gone for a bit. I am a mild nut. I made a mild guide. I'm a mild nut. I love it. I do it all the time. Recommend it to everybody. It's awesome. It's cool. I love it. So yeah, I mild every night before bed. I'm mild during wakings. I'm mild all the time. I'm a mild nut and love it. So yes, that is what I do. That is the essence of my being. All right. This has been enjoyable again. Probably have a ton of mentions back on Discord for when I'm done here. So that will be something I'll have to check soon. Let's see. Anyone else here? There are 5 viewers still, I believe. Let me double check. I went Change the tab. Huh. We're up to 7 again and 11 likes. Awesome. Shadzy 4K. Do you use Wild? Yes, I do. Wild is opportunistic for me. If I feel like I can do it, I'd give it a try. I'm a light sleeper, and it takes me a while to fall asleep. Um, you know, and I tend to, if during wakings, it may be 10, 15 minutes. When I go to bed, it's like 30 to 40 sometimes. So it takes me a while to fall asleep. So I do it, but it's an opportunistic thing. If it feels like it might work, I go for it. If it doesn't, I may not. But it's a very much an opportunistic thing for me. But I do it from time to time. I've had a few wilds this week. My pleasure, Phantom Menace guy who Minviz Tuber. Very interesting non-Star Wars name, my friend. Phantom Minviz Tuber. Just saying. Anyway. I think I'll end at 40 minutes unless people just have questions. If you guys have questions, I'll keep going. If you guys don't have questions, I'll end at around 40 minutes. Let's see. The slow mode is 1 minute, and that is to prevent spamming. Ooh, we have a poll. I think I will create a poll. Let me see. Create a poll. Let's see. I'm going to create a poll right now for my community. I just sent a poll out to the community, guys, on my channel. That is for all of my subscribers to be able to do. Those are using the community tab, I believe. I don't think I've ever used that before. So I went out there and I sent a post out to my subscribers. Hopefully, if people may see it, and if they do, I'm just trying to get an idea of what people think about stream times. I want to get an idea for what my users around the world and the United States and Asia, Europe, Africa, Middle East, South America, North America, wherever think are the best times for streaming. The options are kind of limited: Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, just because those are the best times for me. So I'm sort of creating a poll for that so people can vote on when they think is the best time for me to stream. And I hope to be able to get some results and maybe tailor streams in the future to maximize my audience. So thank you, everyone. I do hope you have a good time or good day. Unless there are any questions, I will be ending shortly. Does anyone have any last minute questions or any last questions on lucid dreaming they would like answered? If so, I will answer them. If not, we're down to 3 people. If not, I am going to go ahead and head out. Let's see. 39.50. I'll give you guys till about 40 1 minute. 39:57. So I've done 5 lucid dreaming Q&As. What's next on my channel? Well, I'm doing these every week or two, and I still haven't recorded it yet, but I'm going to do a fundamentals video where I address what the fundamentals for lucid dreaming are. I've already addressed recall. It's a very important and often underrated lucid dreaming fundamental. I've already addressed that one. I'm going to address memory and awareness and criticality. That's what I'm going to do in the next video. And then I will work on branching into some techniques after that. So that is what the future of my channel looks like for now. If there are topics you would like me to cover, feel free to drop me a line on Discord or let me know, and we'll think about that. I haven't fully decided what all I want to cover. These live streams are going to be a mainstay. Getting the community involved and giving information to the community is one of the pillars of what I do. So being able to coordinate with people who just want to ask questions in a format like this, that is going to always be a mainstay of what I do in a moderated context. So I just want to let you guys know that that is always going to be a thing. Thank you, Red Penguin, for your wise words of wisdom there. All right, guys, that looks like no other questions. So that is going to be the end of the stream. All right. Look like we're at 50, 25, 25. Of course, this is my Saturday afternoon audience. So what I'm going to do is I didn't know how these work. I'm going to make a post on the community tab on my channel if I can, and I'll make a poll over there because then I can get all of my subscribers involved. All right. Thank you, guys. And for those of you who are watching, if you're not subscribed to Skyfall Blind Dreamer, you wish to become a part of the community, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you found this content useful for you. Also, if you are watching this later and you do not get to participate in the stream, no worries. You can find me on Discord on Dream Cafe and Lucid. You can always comment in the comment section down below, and I will reply to you if you have a question for me. For those of you who would like to join the Lucid Discord community, you can find us at discord.gg/OmniLucid. For those who want to join Dream Cafe, that's discord.gg/DreamCafe. Links are both in the description for both Discord servers. I would strongly advise anyone who would like to join a lucid dreaming community to join us. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day.